Basketball was created by Dr. James Naismith back in 1891. If you want to hear more about how Dr. Naismith came to create the game we love and know so well, feel free to check that video out on our channel. Anyways, like all sports, and like most things in life, basketball has rules. Now, some rules in basketball have changed over the years, some new rules have been added, and if you watch the NBA, then some rules, like travels, are rarely ever called. But what were the first 13 rules of basketball? Well, welcome to Cager Scoops. I'm Evan Samuels, and these are the first 13 rules of basketball. Alright, so because James Naismith wanted a game that was non-violent and that could be played inside, the first 7 rules consist of set guidelines of play, and scoring wasn't even mentioned until the 8th rule. The rules are familiar enough so that those who still enjoy the game over 100 years later will still see it as the same sport as Naismith intended, and that these rules still form the core of the game. Rule number 1. The ball may be thrown in any direction with one or both hands. Alright, so this is still true. The only change is that once you step over the mid-court line or into the half court, then you can't throw the ball back past the center court line. Rule number 2. The ball may be batted in any direction with one or both hands, but never with the fist. This is essentially the rule that led to what we now know as the block shot, as well as just a simple deflection. Rule number 3. A player cannot run with the ball. The player must throw it from the spot in which he catches it. Allowance is to be made for a man running at a good speed. Okay, so players still can't run with the ball. They either have to dribble or pass. A player running with the ball is called for travel, or at least supposed to. Rule number 3 is something that a lot of NBA refs should probably revisit. Rule number 4. The ball must be held by the hands. The arms or body must not be used for holding it. Okay, so this is still true, but what the rule means in terms of the arms or body must not be used for holding it, what it means is that a player can't use his body to hold the ball or to prevent the ball from getting to a player or going in the net. So you can't just lay on the ball, or you can't use your feet to deflect the ball or to steal something. You'd be called for a kick ball violation. Rule number 5. No shouldering, holding, pushing, striking, or tripping in any way of an opponent. The first infringement of this rule by any person shall count as a foul. The second shall disqualify him until the next goal is made, or if there is evident intent to injure the person for the whole game. No substitution shall be allowed. Okay, so the noted offenses still apply today and result in either fouls or even ejections. Like the Naismith rule, a player can be thrown out of a game for intent to injure. A flagrant foul is unnecessary or excessive contact against an opponent that results in 2 shots in possession of the ball. A player that is charged with a flagrant foul can be ejected from the game or suspended for a period of time. Rule number 6. A foul is striking at the ball with the fist. Violations of rules 3 and 4, and such as described in rule 5. Alright, so I know this sounds like a weird rule, but it still does exist in today's game. I mean, you can't just punch the basketball, or you can't use your fist to pass the basketball. With that being said, basketball players today are definitely allowed to be more creative in the ways they pass the ball. I mean, just look at Jason Williams, who was out here passing the ball off his elbows. Rule number 7. If either side makes 3 consecutive fouls, it shall count as a goal for the opponents. Consecutive in this situation means without the opponents in the meantime making a foul. Okay, so this rule is no longer in effect. After 5 fouls in a quarter in the NBA, a team is in the penalty and the foul team shoots 2 free throws. In college basketball, you are in the bonus after 7 fouls and a half. Rule number 8. A goal shall be made when the ball is thrown or batted from the ground into the basket and stays there, providing those defending the goal do not touch or disrupt the goal. If the ball rests on the edges and the opponent moves the basket, it shall count as a goal. This rule has changed in the sense that the basket now has a hole in it and the ball doesn't just stay there, it actually goes through. With that being said, a player can't touch the rim when the ball has been shot and is on its way to the basket. The goaltending violation is what was the result of this rule. Rule number 9. When the ball goes out of bounds, it shall be thrown into the field and played by the first person touching it. In case of dispute, the umpire shall throw it straight into the field. The thrower in is allowed 5 seconds. If he holds it longer, it shall go to the opponent. If any side persists in delaying the game, the umpire shall call a foul on them. So the 5-second rule still exists today, and if a player does not throw the ball in within 5 seconds, the ball is turned over to the other team. In no instance in today's game does an umpire ever throw in the ball. Rule number 10. The umpire shall be the judge of the men and shall note the fouls and notify the referee when 3 consecutive fouls have been made. He shall have the power to disqualify men according to Rule 5. Okay, so in basketball today, there are 3 referees who determine fouls and ejections. Rule number 11. The referee shall be the judge of the ball and shall decide when the ball is in play, in bounds, to which side it belongs, and shall keep the time. He shall decide when a goal has been made and keep account of the goals with any other duties that are usually performed by a referee. So in basketball today, referees still determine possession of the ball. However, there are separate timekeepers who monitor the game clock and check substitute players into a game. A scorekeeper is in control of the books and keeps the statistics of a game, such as the score and the fouls. Rule number 12. The time shall be two 15-minute halves with 5 minutes rest between. This has changed, as NBA games currently include 2 halves consisting of 4 12-minute quarters. College games have 2 20-minute halves, and high school games have 2 halves with 4 8-minute quarters. Games that are tied as time expire go into a 5-minute overtime period, and there is a 15-minute halftime break between the 2 halves. Rule number 13. The side making the most goals in that time shall be declared the winner. This is pretty straightforward. In every sport except for golf, whoever has the most points at the end of the game always wins, and basketball always has a winner. There are no ties. So these are the first 13 rules of basketball that James Naismith used to form the heart of the game of basketball, and you can see how the core rules have evolved to reflect the game we see today. Of course, rules have been added and the game has changed, but next time you watch a basketball game, just think of these 13 rules and watch how they are the foundation for the game we love so much today. So if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, give this channel a subscribe, comment down below, and turn on post notifications so that you can stay in the scoop with Cager Scoops. Don't forget to check us out on Twitter and Instagram at Cager Scoops. With that being said, I'm Evan Samuels, and these are the first 13 rules of basketball.